Justin with the uppercut. Welcome back
Coming out of
to
nowhere.
another episode of Marvel's Back Fresh podcast with Sketchcard Hive, Spidey09, and elusive collectibles and the Gingerman cards. Hope you're all super well, and we are back. It's Sunday. It's that time of day already. Can you believe it? Can you believe it? How's your Sunday been? All right?
Seemed like a long week.
It comes quick.
Mm-hmm.
Very quick.
Although a lot happened from podcast to podcast.
Yeah.
Man, that's how you do a Sunday right there, Gingy.
Go, Gingy.
Sorry, I'm busy.
It's a fancy glass, man. Is that just your everyday
wine glass? Thank you.
Yeah, cheers to the queen.
God bless you, mate. I was waiting for Elusive to say something, to be honest.
It's only Tuesday.
Let's go into our collector's spotlight first, shall we? So this is something that we do. We've been doing for like 2 weeks now, so it's a new thing. I was going to say every week, but
Right.
So we'll pick like a content creator or someone on social media that we like, and we'll bring them to the spotlight.
Yeah, I mean, I'll give a proper shout out this time around because we've mentioned him in the past, but it's Random Collector 23. So that's his actual YouTube, Random Collector 23. Yeah. And he's a collector. I don't want to butcher where he's from, but I believe it's Australia. Is that right? Do you know Ginger by any chance? But he does box breaks. No? Okay. Oh, you know what? It's Germany. It is Germany.
I was going to say
Germany. Yeah, I was like...
Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, but he does a lot of box breaks and he does a lot of older sets, Rittenhouse sets. He just does everything, and I got a lot of my info just by looking at actual pull rates by watching him do box breaks. So shout out to Random Collector 23. That's my spotlight for today.
This guy was breaking Marvel before it was cool.
Yeah.
He's an OG.
Awesome.
He's an OG without probably knowing he's an OG.
Is there any other social media presence for him other than YouTube?
I don't think so.
Yeah,
I feel like I know him, but I'm not sure. I've reached out to him and said that, like, hi and stuff, but I don't think I know him at all.
We'd get him on one day.
Yeah, that'd be
awesome. Right, to the left of me, Sketchcard Hive.
Hello. All right, so let me show you mine. Mine is Doctor Strange Archive, actually. And this guy, for me, being a character collector, is essential. He's really a very nice guy, one of the nicest people I know. And he's a true character collector, even outside of cards.
He's got legends up there.
Oh, no, he does it all. He does not mess around. Doctor Strange, it's always a party when Doctor Strange is around. This guy is definitely next level, super helpful, has an amazing website, actually, that you can find from his Instagram. And what I really love about this is how he keeps count of his collection.
Oh, that's sick.
And then he even has...
Can you click on that photo? That photo looks super clean on the middle of the screen.
This guy?
Well, yeah, that guy. That one looks awesome.
I can't click it, but I will zoom in for you.
Thank you. Look at that.
Isn't that cool?
That's actually super nice. Yeah.
His office is like next level.
That's a legit display, man.
No, he's really good. He keeps count of this stuff. I think he's updating it. But what I also really like, which I'm really grateful to him, is his resources. How to protect, how to preserve. He's done like documentation of like measuring humidity and all that other stuff. Sticker guide for the 1976 set.
1976 sticker guide. That's awesome.
It's pretty amazing. Convention guide. He goes to conventions, brings his stuff to show in booths and all this kind of fun stuff.
Marvel
other resources.
To get accurate information.
You know what? He's at that level for sure. I mean, I don't know if he does tons of original art for Doctor Strange, but like this is kind of like where it's going for character collectors, honestly. And he's been doing this for a long time, and he's very good at it, and super nice and approachable, and just a sweet guy.
I would have thought he was strange, but
nice, perfect.
I was going to say strange collection, but whatever.
That was good. That was good. He's a strange guy, but Super nice.
Spidey, over to you.
Well, look, I don't know this guy on any kind of personal level, but I'll add this to the stream here. So this is Mark Bartle, and he is creating actual Marvel cards. So this is not anything that's like, official, but it's just so good that I had to feature it. Like, let's see if I can pull this up. Look at that Wolverine. Look how good that looks. And
Concept.
yeah, so he's creating his own concept art when it comes to some Marvel cards. And he's doing this set, and these are really nice. And as far as original art pieces, I think they're pretty affordable. But man, look at this! Look at this Venom. Let's see here. Look at that.
Mark's awesome. He's really, really good.
Mark, I don't know him.
You love him. He's super nice. We should definitely have him on the show. He's a great guy.
So he's got a
great
Doctor
artist.
Strange there.
That Strange is nice, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, this is just
Zombie.
The Gambit on the first page was nice.
Yeah, the Gambit was nice.
Yeah, so he's doing this whole X-Men run right now. Yeah, there it is. The Gambit. Just looks so good.
Yeah.
Looks
Yeah,
awesome.
so he has his own website. He's selling these right now, $90 pre-order. These are the concept images, but very cool stuff.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Nice.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that one. That one's nice.
Yeah,
That's
that was
cool.
good. Sick.
Yeah.
So mine, I think you guys probably know him, especially from Facebook groups. But on Instagram, this guy's name is Miles Bless 75, and I don't know his actual name. I've just got chatting to him, but it seems like a really cool guy. And I haven't prepared my Instagram, so apologies for that. But yeah, he collects Namor, which is very interesting, and he has got some sick cards. Like, there's some good stuff. I'm hoping Sketch Card Hives is popping something up right now. But
I am. I'm reading your mind. I'm reading your mind.
it was
Yeah,
like
Norton's like that guy from CSI on it.
On it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so he's probably not quite to the Doctor Strange level collector, but he might be on Norton's level with Silver Surfer.
He's definitely has. He's great. He's just such a nice guy. I've grown a real friendship with him. It's like, how dare he? No, he's really
That's
great.
how we threw that in. Hey, Justin chose violence today, huh?
Justin chose violence today. That was an interesting choice, Justin. Yeah, I know Miles is great. He actually, I don't know how much
is
I
his
can
actual
reveal.
name Miles?
No, I keep saying Miles. What is it, Spidey?
I call him
It
Miles.
was-
He answers to it. So
Yeah, I have him.
Miles.
Yeah,
So-
I have him on Facebook, and I forgot now what his full name is.
Yeah,
He told
he's
me
on Facebook,
before,
yeah.
but I always say everybody's handle. But yeah, what's really cool about his collection is that he's been doing this, but he's only started doing it really seriously.
Miles.
So, like-
Miles BLES. That's how he spells
There
it
you
on
go.
Facebook.
Yeah, and he's only really he's getting past a lot of stuff very quickly. Like, he's moved really
He's got some
fast into a
comics.
full.
Further down, he's got some awesome comics as well.
Would you say he's
Yeah.
kind of like where Doom's at right now? Doom Collector?
Yeah,
I haven't,
yeah.
I haven't
Yeah,
seen. Well, so here's what's interesting about Miles' collection is, I mean, he's also chasing the Namor comic books, and just as a reminder, first Marvel character in the Marvel universe is Namor. So we're talking about 1930s comic books. So he's having to chase the golden age of comic books through the Silver Age, Bronze Age, and up. So what he's wanting to accomplish is massive.
Yeah.
And he's a beast. I mean, he's just a beast. Very resourceful, very smart, and very nice. Just a beast.
I think that, like, Namor as a character as well, there's so much more to come from it. Like, especially when I think of the MCU, like movies, sorry. Yeah.
Oh
super
no,
interesting.
absolutely. And he can be a good or bad guy because his
Yeah,
moral compass
exactly.
is underwater. It's different
And
than land.
That's a recipe
land,
for
yeah.
good.
Yeah.
And he has a lot of interaction with some pretty major characters in the Marvel space, specifically Doom, which is probably going to
Yeah.
be the connection moving forward. So this is interesting about character collectors is I find myself just wanting to help them. Like with Miles here, when I was doing X-Men E-Pack, I deliberately chased Namor and then said, "Hey, here, let me know just tell me what you want to do. They're yours." Because I just want to help character collectors. You guys find yourself wanting to help Doom Collector and Silver Surfer Collector or Doctor Strange?
Not Silver Surfer.
Listen, not Silver Surfer. It's a little much.
There's no Silver Surfer cards anymore.
Justin with the loaded questions. Justin, what's going on today, man?
Guns a blazing.
You see how he threw that in there, Norton? Like
I saw that.
Yeah.
It's a lot of baiting.
Alex,
it's a lot of baiting. I mean, I think what's nice about I always want to help character collectors. Always, always, always. And I think what ends up happening, this is even in Star Wars, funny enough, and like Pokemon and every other card hobby I've seen, even the sports world, right, where you have people who collect players off the beaten path. You know what I mean? Like Mojo autographs. You know what I mean? The gentleman who collects there. Very nice guy and collects a particular team, and I always see people handing him cards and stuff like that. There's this weird kind of character collections, player collections, things like that. It's this nice little offshoot that takes you off the main highway. You know what I mean? Like the main highway is like investment, buying, collecting, fighting for cards, all this other stuff. And then when you see character collectors, like, well, I have all of these. This is going to make their day. You know what I mean? You're like, I kind of like, and you like seeing character collections. I do. I love seeing people have that focus. And I'm just like, that is the sickest thing in the world.
Yeah, and I have a lot of respect.
Inspiring. Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, no. I have a lot of respect for like character collectors doing it. Like there was a stage when you guys know I was thinking about doing that, but I just couldn't. And look at crazy eyes to the left of me, sketch card, than what he's doing. Yeah, I got mad respect for character collectors.
Sure. I think Gingy, to that point, I think that we have respect for it because we can't do it ourselves.
Correct.
Because I can't do it either. It takes a lot, like to be that focused and just getting every single piece, getting every single variation of one card. But when I see it, I definitely respect it and admire it. You know what I mean? So I think that's what we enjoy about character collectors over set collectors.
Yeah. Tell you, I want to be a character collector of Spider-Man. And, going back to earlier in the year, we talked about this. He's just so massive as a character that it's really hard to drill down on him, right? And then you have the variations of the Spider-Verse, which, still attraction as a Spider-Man collector. But I think once you can lock down some pretty major cards, it helps you realize, okay, now I can do this.
Like one of ones? That helps.
Like one of ones, yeah.
If you can lock that down, it's all downhill from there.
It's but not only that, like some other ones, that one's obviously pretty essential, but been able to grab a few more and now I realize, okay, I can be a character collector without having every single Spider-Man card.
Yeah.
And that was the hard part for me to make it over.
Yeah.
What I did early on, because you realize very quickly what you cannot have when you collect Marvel cards. I think we all realize that. It's unlike any other card hobby, right? You realize really quick is like there is no way in hell I'm going to pull that off that person unless they're a corpse. Like it's just not happening. And so like I came up with like a master set collector goal for character collectors and cards, just because like you can't have the one of ones like what Spidey has, Elusive and Gingy. There are certain cards that people have that are just luck, just plain luck that that person got them. So like for me, like my goals were like one pack pulled sketch, simple. You know what I mean? 1 4-color printing plate set. You know what I mean? Namor has that. Miles has that. All 4 plates of a particular card. Also a pack pulled autograph, right? Some kind of original card art is kind of a plus. And then it was like the big one was every character card above 10, right? That way you don't have to go for the greens.
You mean numbered?
Numbered. Any hard numbered card above 10. If you have all of those, I think that's a complete collection. Yeah. You know what I mean?
And to Justin's point earlier, I think getting over the hump of just coming to accepting that you're not going to get every single Spider-Man card. I think that also helps for me personally because let's be honest, one of the downsides of being a character collector, and I'm sure Norton will attest to this, there's definitely some duds in there. There's some cards that you don't particularly like the artwork, but because you're a character collector and you have to pick it up, you pick up the card. To where Justin's point is, you're kind of just cherry picking your favorite Spider-Man artwork.
I think cherry picking is the way to go now. I don't think you can, especially with how expensive Marvel cards have gotten, unless you have people helping you out, which is really nice. Like, you know, we do know a lot of people, and if you are looking for cards and trying to pick a character that no one's really picked yet, hit us up and we can connect you with people who have extras and are not going to like rob you blind. But you know, I think what's really fun about now is, and what I tend to do now is I have characters I like that I keep on the back burner. You know what I mean? Like I have a very small like master set of like a master collection of like Gambit. So I have like I'm working on like a 9-card master character collection for Gambit. And I have like 7 of them. And all the cards that I think are big hits for Gambit I kind of put off to the side. But I think now what people need to be thinking about doing is like the Nimrod collector that you helped out, Spidey Jew.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I saw
That's
that.
so cool.
Awesome.
That was really cool. I was able to trade him the 1-of-1 Nimrod and the green PMG. And once he locked those down, it was done for him. You know,
It's over.
Able to go get what he wanted.
Yeah.
So can someone out there in the community do me a favor and make a master list of like all Spider-Man cards, you know, so someone just do the work for me. So and then
Is this like
Wolverine
serious?
and Silver, yeah, like
And Jin's just
make,
like, I'll
make
get right
character
on it.
lists, not set list, character lists. That would be very helpful to me because I don't have the time or the talent.
Time or the talent.
Neither.
I'm sure someone will
I
help.
love this artist collector. That's another great
yes.
way to to focus in your
Yeah.
collection.
Mhm.
And I think it
So
helps
here's
with
something.
the FOMO, right? The fear of missing out.
Mhm.
Like when you character collect, you're not like jumping at, every new release.
Yeah.
You're just praying that your character does not get into a set. You're just like, please, just
And
give my
there's
character a break.
And there's so many fun ways to have fun with the hobby. I mean, look at Bill. I think he's doing a sketch for every villain, right?
Yeah, like
In
A
the
through Z.
alphabet. A through Z. So
What a
stuff
beast.
like that, like little, you
That's
kind of
tough.
make up your own rules if we're honest. You know what I mean? You make up your own rules for your own
You should.
collecting and you figure it out.
Yeah, and most sketch card collectors are artist collectors. You know what I mean? There's characters and artist collectors and sketch cards. You know, you can do ones where like a character when they wear a particular costume, and that's the only time you hunt that character. You know what I mean? I've seen that happen, which is pretty
nice.
cool. You know what I mean? Like when they're in disguise or something. You know what I mean? Those kind of fun sets. This is something I used just for Spidey Jew. I'm not telling you to do this, Spidey Jew. I think it's a crazy thing to do.
This is
But
awesome.
when you go to Beckett and you log in, you can actually go here and see all the cards that
Oh,
exist.
gosh. These are all that have been graded on their set, which is probably
Yeah,
not
so
installed.
Upper Deck, Panini, Flair, Rittenhouse, Comic Images,
Holy smokes. There goes the rest of
and
the
then you
money.
apply. Yeah, and then you can go down the list.
So does this give you the rookie card?
Yeah,
does it
okay, so
skip it?
before people get very confused about their rookie cards.
First appearance,
So
sorry.
no, no, that's not what I mean. What I mean by confused about rookie cards is that, how can I say this? So some sets come out in the same year. So you have to go back and look at the month that they were released in to get like the first appearance card. Spider-Man's an easy one, right? 1966. Straight out. You know, if you look at that set. Now this doesn't have everything, but what I did here was for me, for Surfer, is I went through this full list and kind of just started check marking and figuring it out. I got my list over here somewhere to show you. And then you kind of create this massive checklist, which is ridiculous. But yeah, Beckett's a good resource for that. Spidey's
That is
like,
good.
That's very helpful. Thank you. And
Yeah.
Maybe we'll put the link below.
Hey, the last thing on the subject that I'll throw in that I learned from Norn as well is like sometimes you could be a character collector, set collector, or any type of collector you want, but at the same time, if you want to switch it up, right, and you're feeling kind of like stagnant with your current collection, one of the things I'm doing personally for X-Men Metal is just going after certain Gambit cards. So you could rainbow just one character from each set, step
what
outside of your regular collection, right, and just try something different, something fresh. So that's what I've been doing, and yeah, it's fun. I'm not gonna lie.
So that kind of, I think that's a good segue into like trading and getting the cards that you
Yeah,
really
Ginger,
want.
you're
So,
on today, man. That was a smooth transition, man.
like, sometimes I don't believe I'm good at hosting.
You might have a career now, man.
I'm good at but yeah, like Spider, you were talking about trading earlier, like in terms of what you've done on EPAC. What's worked well for you?
Buying a lot of cards and then trading a lot of cards. So, well, so I mean, you got to focus in on what you want first. Like that's part of what has to come clear, and then from there, for me, I realized, with what I first bought, that I wasn't going to be able to trade my way to what I wanted, and so I had to kind of get the ammo, so to speak, first, at least for me. Partially because of the sheer amount of time that I can allot to it, which is not a ton, like maybe an hour a day. And I would say the guys and gals that are doing like trading the right way are probably spending 4 hours a day or more trading. Like as soon as EPAC releases, and let me talk about that real quick, because when EPAC releases, the cards are pouring in, and you have to do your trades before they get shipped out or sent to ComC. So time is of the essence if you're wanting to trade your way into the sets or to the cards or inserts that you want. So again, not advising this, but I had to go ahead and kind of buy quite a bit to be able to have the firepower to trade pretty quickly. And I'll pull up one of those trades here. Let's see, is this mine? That's you're sharing right now, Sketch Card. Do you mind if I share real quick?
Share. Do you need me to take mine off? Stop sharing. There
I
you
got
go.
you. Nope, I'm good. I got it. And so this was a trade that I did once it kind of catches up here. So I traded 104 cards to get 33. And this was my mindset around it. I was like, you know what? Let's say I have 1,000 cards or 1,200 X-Men metal cards. And I wanted to try to trade those down to about 100 cards that I really wanted. And so to do that, I was basically wanting to get, take like this is 100 cards for 33, get 33 really good cards, take those 33 and trade them for like 5 special cards, if that makes sense. And kind of consolidating power, so to speak, or consolidating value into a smaller segment of cards. And so this guy in particular here, this is Keith Boyle, great guy. Yeah, one thing that was important for me is to understand what type of person I'm trading with. Keith Boyle was chasing achievements. Like that's why he was on EPAC. I was not chasing achievements. Other than one, I could kind of care less. And so, in fact, the one achievement that I wanted to do was the Palladium set, and that's why you see me trading for here. But he was chasing these Grandioses, and you can see I offered quite a bit of them. Grandy Moist. And he was also chasing blacks. And so I had because I'd bought, quite a few boxes, I was able to create a number of blues here that I was not chasing. And I was able to offer those to him. And at the time, they likely had a higher value to him than at any point in time they would have for me. If that makes sense.
Gingy's looking at
so
that
I loaded
needle sketch.
Yeah, I'm gonna go back to what.
Gosh, it was genuinely. That's nice.
So you can see all these blues here that I included in the trade, and let's just get to the bottom because it was a lot, and then a couple of more that he needed. So here's some of the more high-end cards. I was not chasing this Deadpool at all in this set, and that's a short print geode. And then he likes comic cuts, and I knew that about him, and so I included those in there.
That's a massive trade.
It is a massive trade, but you can get back up here. So this was one of the 2 or 3 sketches that I really wanted out of this set. It's more of a full body Magneto that you can actually see his face through the mask. A little bit of this power set and robe, like it was, and it's Ray Rocho. So Ray Rocho. So it's really nice. Was able to get this Deadpool, which I wanted to be able to use to hopefully get a Spider-Man buyback. That didn't work out. That's another story for another day. And then these periodics, which were not connected to an achievement. So to Keith, they had a lot less value, but for me, they were numbered cards that I could use in terms of like trading down and consolidating the value or in these cards.
Clever.
And because I had pulled the gold Wolverine, I wanted to get the platinum to go with it. And so those were the big cards along with the Dakin here in the trade. So to me, basically 33 to 104. That was what I wanted to do and accomplish with my trading.
Yeah,
That's a beast of a trade.
That's so good.
What-
That's such a complicated. That's so much more complicated than it looks. That is a very good trade.
And that's a good example, Spidey, for that for EPAC. I don't have a lot of EPAC. Well, I don't have any EPAC trading experience. So the only thing I would touch on as far as trading goes is just depending on the card you want to go for. I would always try to add more value if you're breaking up. For example, if you want one card from one individual, you could do it a couple of different ways, right? But let's say, for example, just to give a quick example, if there's a card that you want that's $100 card, right? And you're not gonna give them one card for one card, then it's always good to give them at least 10 to 25% value above their card. So if you're gonna give them like 10 cards, at least give them $125 value for their $100.
Yeah.
Another thing that helps is it's a lot easier when you guys don't collect the same characters. It's tough. Like if I want to make a trade with Norrin, we both collect Silver Surfer and Gambit, right? So it's going to be easier to do a trade with Gingy or do a trade with Spidey, as an example. So just know who's collecting what. I think that's where it's very important to know what character everyone's collecting. Always be willing to give up value, and I would always also say, depending on how big the card is that you're trying to acquire, don't be afraid to offer a huge card on your end as well, just to make it as fair as possible. For me, anytime I do a trade, I want to make sure that when I'm done with the trade, both parties are happy with what they received. Where it doesn't feel like, hey, he got one over me or vice versa. So that's my only 2 cents on a trade is give up value if you want a bigger piece than what you're trading for. Know who you're collecting, and also I think the tough part of all this is putting a price on new sets. When you're trying to do a trade, it's tough to know what the real value of a new set is because the market hasn't really settled down and created a floor for that card. And it's also tough to put values on different characters, for example, right? Like it's obvious if I want a Spider-Man from Spidey, and if I want to trade Neymars and Falcons, it's going to be tough. You know what I mean? Yeah. So you also have to give up something of value character-wise on your end. Don't ask for a A-list character if you're offering a C-list character. I know it seems obvious, but you'd be surprised how many times that happens. Now, unless it's something specific to Justin's point, where if it's EPAC and someone's chasing an achievement from a certain character, I would say that would be the exception to the rule.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's
specifically for EPAC, I'm with you, Elusive. And one thing that I'll add, now that we've got to transition to the guys talking about this, but you eventually have to ship these cards to yourself if you want them. And so for me, that was another reason why I wanted to consolidate the cards as much as I could, because I really only want to ship about 100 cards to myself, not 1,000 or 1,500. And I surely don't want them to just sit on EPAC. Like, think about that. Money out, and then cards stay on EPAC. Like, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
And a lot of people just ignore their EPACs too. So that's the other thing that's pretty frustrating about EPAC. Like, in my experience when I've been trading and stuff like that, I tend to make sure who's been on and who hasn't, because they are icons there. So you have a green, yellow, and red light. Green, I think, is they've been on for the last 24 hours or 48 hours, something like that. Yellow is they've been on that week, and red is they haven't been on in a while. So there's, accounts like that. But a lot of people, I don't know if that's the actual conversion. I think that's just roughly what it is.
Did you see where that guy this past week jumped on EPAC, I think because of metal, and found packs of the 2018 Flare Ultra X-Men that he had not opened yet?
What?
Wow. That must be a nice surprise.
Yeah, that's awesome. He pulled some fire too, if I remember right.
Damn.
And
that's awesome.
So we talked about trading. What, in terms of the most important thing when you're trading is value. So where do you think, like, because you need to agree what price a card is, right? So how are you guys doing that? How are you doing that in a fair way?
Yeah.
Does it have to be fair? No, I'm just kidding.
Well, hey, sketch card, if I can, real quick. Yeah, does it have to be fair? It doesn't have to be. Like, it's not against the law, if that's what you're asking.
No,
but like
100%.
the guy Keith that I was trading with, here's what I knew about Keith. Keith has an Excel spreadsheet built where he has predetermined values placed on each card.
Yep.
So he took what I requested and what I offered, and he put it in a spreadsheet to determine for himself if he believed it was fair. And I knew that going into the trade with him. Now, I'm not that complex. Like, I just said, here's what I want. Here's what I'm willing to let go. Here's where I mentally think that should fall. And it happened to work in his Excel spreadsheet. But you definitely need to be putting values on these cards and your own cards as being requested before you make the trade. And I think probably the best way to do this is the power of the question. I think people do underestimate that, where you say, hey, look, I want this card. Where do you have the value? Let them tell you, and then you can then make your offer. And to Elusive's point, you can go above value to make sure you secured the trade.
Yeah, and that's the very difficult part, and I think it goes into something that a lot of people don't like to discuss in the hobby, which is the hierarchy of cards, right? Like which cards are worth more than others, because some people think that's subjective. But it just depends. If you're talking about specific rarity and age, those are two absolutes. There's no arguing that. Now, if feelings get involved and everything, and it's your character, that makes sense. But that's the toughest part. To Spidey's point, is being able to trade with someone that's maybe using the same logic that you're using to determine value. Because if they're using a different type of scale than you, then you guys are not speaking the same language, and you're not going to make a trade done.
It's not even worth discussing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just not. Yeah, Elusive, absolutely. It's just not worth it.
And the other great point that Justin made was it really helps if right off the bat you ask them what they value the card at, because that's going to let you know if you're even in the same ballpark. You might be thinking a card's worth $500, and then the guy goes, "Yeah, I won $3,000 for it." No,
you don't want to be in a position where you're arguing with a. Here's the other thing that I've learned through experience: if you disagree on value, don't hassle the person. If it's that far off, like Elusive said, right, don't sit there and try to convince them, because this is what happens. You're not going to convince them. You're going to piss them off. They're going to eventually want to let it go, and they will they will go out of their way to make sure you can't get it and sell it to somebody else, or they get something else you want, and they're in the same value range as you then, and then they don't even want to talk to you because you've hassled them for it. That's been in my experience. I just don't argue. Like, I'm like, hey, what do you think? Like this just happened, actually. Someone got the blue Wolverine periodic. It's numbered out of 66. People are valuing that card as if it is a green PMG. Yeah. That's stupid. That card is not a green PMG whatsoever. And the person I was talking to, very nice person. I said the question. I was like, hey, where are you at with this? Let's talk. And they're like, well, I'm hoping to get a green PMG in a trade for it. And I said, dude, I hope that happens. That's awesome. No worries. I think that's great. He goes, yeah, I'll let you know if it happens. I'll post it in the group, blah, blah. I'll keep you in contact. I was like, cool, no problem. And that was it. Nice conversation, right? Instead of me being like there, be like, that's not happening. And if it does happen, good for you, man. But you know what? Right now, though, people do value that blue Wolverine high. Is it going to be valued that same way in a couple of weeks? No. And I know that. But I'm not going to sit there with a person and be like, yo, I'm going to give you $200 for it. You want that? Because no, it's more about a $700, $500 value. Like, oh, I understand. That's it. And you move on and you let it go. You know what I mean? Because you don't want to taint that kind of relationship with someone you don't know. Because it's just a misunderstanding.
I haven't even made a trade offer for the blue Wolverine because it's way stupid out of values right now. And to your point, there's probably about 10 or 12 people going after the periodics on EPAC together. And some of them have overpaid maybe for the blue Wolverine initially, but it'll come down. There's too many.
Someone paid $1,000 for the Palladium Wolverine.
Someone paid it.
Yeah, early on. You're talking about early on, right? Because they didn't know what they were doing. It said out of 50, and they thought it was out of 50. So, Sketch,
You mean
I'm
then?
curious.
You don't pay $1,000 for something out of
No.
50? That's crazy
You
town.
I mean,
So-
unless it's like a 2013 PMG Blue.
Yeah. So Sketch, how do you look at someone's e-pack? Like when you go to their e-pack, you're trying to figure out what kind of person am I dealing with? What am I looking for? You know what I mean? How do you
Let's have
survey
a little bit of fun.
their collection to determine,
All right.
hey, I'm going to make this person an offer?
I am a terrible person.
Get
Just
those
putting
reviews
that out
online.
there ahead of everybody's idea.
Later in the news,
One thing I just wanted to throw in before we go through.
Go.
I was just going to say, to Justin's point, another way to when the set first comes up, it's tough to put a value on anything because, like you guys mentioned, achievements and whatnot. So a good way to do it for anybody, just an easy tip, is wait for another set to come up that has the attention over the set that you're trying to acquire. So, for example, X-Men Metal and periodics. As soon as Spider-Man Metal comes up, then you're going to see more of the real value on these cards because now the attention is elsewhere. So sometimes
and by attention,
the prices,
money. The
correct.
money,
Well,
this pool of money that's in our
goes from there to there.
It's going to shift.
correct, exactly. And that's
These
when
are
you
the-
and that's when you have your opportunity to jump on certain cards that you were looking for. So that's the best way to see the real value, because a lot of times when the intention is somewhere, it overinflates the value of the cards for the short term.
And Collection Kings is 100% right. And I'll remove the shared screen and show his comment real quick, or her comment. What I tend to do, the reason I jump on EPAC fast is there's a couple of different people and a couple of different emotions people are experiencing during EPAC. One of them is, I just bought a case of this. I hit 1 or 2 cards. What did I do? I need my money back. This is crazy, right? That's one person. I secure things that way from those people because I don't do trades. I'm like, you just tell me a price, what you want it for, and it's done. And then I buy it and it's over. And they can feel better about the money, and I have the card and I don't have to worry about chasing it later. The other type of people are the ones who are going for the achievements. Cards on ComC and eBay, you might have a base card, high series card that's going for 25 cents, 42 cents, 50 cents. Basically what we talked about a long time ago on how cheap they would be later on. The golds now being $75 are now $6. The grandiose that was $100 and something is now like, $10-12 or whatever. Everything that there's even going to get lower and lower and lower. But what's great about EPAC is that the values on EPAC differ than the values on ComC and eBay. And that's where your value for the box you buy. I am not defending Upper Deck's pricing and the digital cards at all. Some of that's garbage. What I will say is this, though. Some of the cards you get do have higher value than you normally would typically see what they're going for on eBay and ComC. And that's a big deal. Like Justin's point when he traded with Keith, right? That was a huge trade, and it worked in his favor because he was fulfilling Keith's needs for cards that, he wanted to get the achievement for and sell, that kind of stuff, the redeemable cards.
Yeah, that's a great way to sum it up. You met someone else's needs, and in return, they met your need. Another thing I would throw in that you mentioned that's very interesting is you mentioned the golds and the grandioses coming down in price. I think that's my personal issue when new sets come out and they're not numbered and they just tell you either short print or super short print. Even going back down to Justin's point when he mentioned again about the Wolverine selling for $1,000 at the beginning, that's because no one knew how many of those were going to be out. So you see that the ones that took the highest dips, like you just mentioned, are cards that are not numbered. It's a lot easier for a numbered card to maintain its value than it is for a card that's not numbered. And that's a perfect example. I just want to reinforce.
No, I love that. 100%. Absolutely right. So, yeah. So, Spidey Jew asked me, how do I figure out what someone else wants, what they have? How do I go about, finding people who are looking to get things? I'm looking to get them. So, for me, I go to the marketplace, and, since I'm hunting Gambit, I type in Gambit. And this is my strategy. I'll come here. This 420 number is getting bigger and bigger and bigger, right? Probably next weekend, it will be maybe almost 600, right? So I come here and I hit Command minus. And that's going to make it a lot smaller for me so I can manage all of this. Now, what I tend to do is I make a printout because I am part serial killer. And in this handout here, I will go down this list, and who I target first are people who have 2 or 3 of them.
Doubles.
Exactly. So I go to doubles. All right. And then I come to their collection. Okay. And what I'll do first is I'll open a new link, and I will go and look at their collection and see what they have. So I will see the majority of the cards they want. Now you can go to the items on their wish list. Sometimes they're not updated. Sometimes they're not the best source for that. But this is the way to do it normally. So here's their collection. This is what they have. So they have a lot of base here. I'm going to look to see if they're doing golds. I see a good amount of gold, so they might be collecting the gold set. Grandiose, not so much. They got a couple of reds. They got a green they're probably wanting to offload. But I don't see anything they're hunting specifically.
Tiger Woods?
Tiger Woods, so they want Tiger Woods. But see, they look like they opened up a case, judging by some of the case hits. You know what I mean? So it looks like they went for a case. They might have stuff locked on there, which is the other thing. But what I'll do now is I'll go back here, be like, okay, they got that. I go to my cards in my collection, and I say, okay, let's see what they have the most of that they're close to making a rainbow on. So Silver Samurai. And I do the base first, and I know it's not an even trade. Give me a second. I put some high tier characters in there, right? You know, people that look good and stuff like that. And then I give them some cards they don't have, like this gold. You know, this is a cool looking high series. That's a cool looking high series. And I go there, right? And I feel pretty good about that. And then I go to review trade, and then I think to myself, okay, you know, I got one Gambit in there. Let me get the other one that didn't load. Yeah, faster way to search here. I get the 2 I want. Come back to review trade, and then I think, okay, I got 5 digital in here. Let me keep one cool looking one to myself. I'll keep M. You can have those cool guys. I put 4 high series. He has 2 gambits, so it's a little big of a deal. And I have a gold here, so I'll take off this guy. All right, submit trade. And then this is my next step. I go to subject here, put
Hey.
I say I do whatever you need, let me know. Happy to make it work. Thanks. Send. Done. And then the dreaded waiting of it all. But that's usually what I would do in terms of like assessing the person's needs and all that kind of stuff. And that's everything
Nice.
I'm waiting on.
That's awesome.
You should have charged people for that. That was really good.
Yeah.
Does that okay? I wasn't sure if I mean, you guys all know this, but just in case people wanted to see, and then you can see all my messages there. Yeah. Anyway, but yeah.
Yeah. So one of the issues that I hear a lot is, hey, look, I have trouble with people like responding. So it's important that you get to know who's on EPAC and see if you can't find them in other channels like Facebook or Instagram. I've worked out quite a few trades on either Facebook Messenger or Instagram, and then went to EPAC from that point. So, Doom Card.
Hey, what's going on? Jesus?
Now, so
Doom.
there's a chance that people haven't seen this process of opening up a pack. So I actually just bought a pack.
Woo! We're doing one
Yeah,
live.
boy.
We're going to do
Didn't
one
expect
pack live.
This was not.
I did
planned.
want to say this. Doom, who is amazing, has really helped me out the most on Metal, as well as Spidey Jew, of course. But I just wanted a quick shout out to Doom for being super kind and really helpful. Thanks again, brother.
Shut up, dude.
And that's saying a lot because there's no Doom cards in this set. So
Ah,
Yeah,
I like
definitely.
just the
trading them
best.
in return.
So nice.
Come on, let's have some fire.
Yeah,
I
so
can't wait.
if you haven't made a purchase on Upper Deck EPAC, just be aware this is like gambling. It's like being at the boat. You have to, hit the
It is.
button and hope that it goes 777s, right? But this
That's
is the
what this
process.
is.
So you get it. Yeah, this is pure gambling. And But you can do it here, and so then you click open, and then you can drag the cards, or you can hit next. You can do either one. And when you drag, you can kind of do your own reveal, like,
Oh, you
man,
bastard! I am
It's
so
so
mad.
good. Look at it.
No. It's not what I think it is. That's okay.
What do you think it was?
I thought it was a palladium.
Yeah,
A portrait, not a palladium, a portrait. Portrait,
portrait.
platinum portrait.
You saw the
So
gray,
you
yeah.
see how this has sleeve around it? So that's how you know it's a physical card with X-Men.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And how you know it's maybe a hit. What's it look like when you have something?
I think you're right.
Oh,
Hey.
so when it flashes red, that means you got greater than a box hit. Meaning, the odds are more than 1 in 12 packs. And so this is a high series grandiose, and we'll take a look here. And you can flip it over. It's not numbered, but it is a grandiose. And these are slightly more than 1 in 12 packs because they're short printed. And that is how you spend $22.
And not to get back.
And yeah, I mean that high series grandiose is probably a solid $10, maybe $12 card, in my opinion. And so look, hey, do this for me, sketch card, as I hop off of here. Can you go where it shows all of how many of those cards are available on ePack, and let's look at how many of those Dakin high series grandiose,
The good stuff.
so people can see how rare these cards are or are not. And remember, ePack has roughly, half the population of these cards that were printed. And I don't know how much of this product do you think has been open that's available on ePack?
Well, we're going to find out right now.
See?
So there
We're gonna be
are
able to-
230,000 cards.
right,
of metal.
but how much is left to be open?
I think we have a
do
lot
that.
to be opened because of how many digital cards you get in a pack. So I think this will be here for a while, because I think if you look at the achievements, which I'll also bring up in a second, you can kind of see that people are slowing down on the achievements, because the biggest achievements right now, and I'll bring those up in a minute after we look at this. But let's go to the grandiose, right? So is this how you spell his name?
Daken, Daken.
Okay. What was it? D-A?
Ken.
Okay. No R. Taken. So there's only 29 of them.
Only 29. And I mean, when you put that in perspective,
Mm-hmm.
like how many of the periodic is available?
There's only 36 that can possibly be done. Some were in the physical, because I remember seeing them on eBay, and only 4 exist on ePack.
Only 4 exist on eBay. It's fascinating. So I think grandiose, especially the high series, or maybe a little underestimated on ePack, because there are people who are trying to collect the whole set.
Yeah. I think you get a little bit of that with the golds too. Not as much as the grandiose, but the golds can be interesting for high series. I think they're the same rate as pool as the base golds. Is that true? Or is it different? Because the grandioses are different between base and high series, right?
Well, look at
Because this seems closer.
Yeah, they're a lot closer. Yeah, so you're right. I think you're right then.
I think that's what it is.
I know you were about to jump on this. Oh, go ahead.
Well, just on the ePack achievements. See if I can put my
That's what I was gonna ask on the ePack achievements. How do we come up with a value on the achievement? Is it what it took to get that achievement? Is that what makes sense?
I'm gonna let you ask, and then I'm gonna show you an ePack achievement that is for sale right now. I'm gonna let you.
I wanted to look. So say that one more time, Elusive, so I have the question in my head.
Yeah, no worries. So you know how there's the achievements that are if you complete the Arc World set, the Palladium set, etc. So how do you put a value on each of the achievement cards? Is it based on what it took for you to complete that achievement?
That's what people will try to do,
Correct,
but
yeah.
it's not going to happen.
No,
like
correct.
it's never worked out.
Not,
So like
not dollar for dollar, but percentage wise.
you'd be surprised how people try to do it dollar for dollar. Like this happened with Marvel Anime. You had to spend quite a bit of money on Marvel Anime to get the 4 printing plates of a particular character. And when those first came on eBay, people were trying, this one person who did a lot of it was trying to recuperate and put a lot of them at a 2K value, 1,500, 1,100 value, right, exactly. And that never flew. Like maybe like 1 or 2 of the big characters got a little haggled on and like brought down a bit and then purchased, but everything else just sat there for a long time. I had a chance at getting the Gambit 4 printing plate for less than 500. And I was very close to pulling that trigger, but to Rainbow the Anime Gambit, but it just wasn't my favorite Gambit. You know what I mean? I liked it. I love Peach Momoko stuff. I really do. But the side profile of his face and, you know, some of the plates didn't look as clean. And I was like, this could be like surfer money. You know what I mean? Making those decisions. So I really like the value of this Firestar. I was just noticing it before we came on, actually. I don't think that's a bad price at all. It's Firestar. It's not the best looking card in the set, but that's not a bad value.
Well, I wanted to try to pull up what it takes to achieve that and create kind of how much did it cost to actually acquire that that printing plate set compared to how much they're trying to sell it for. But I wasn't sure which achievement that is.
So I'm pulling it up right now.
I got it. First 199 collectors to redeem the gold bullion achievement. So you got to get all 5 of the gold bullion achievements. So that's an achievement of the achievements.
And it's randomly awarded.
Mm-hmm. And it's only 199 because that's how many of the base cards that they can do. And so these are all the ones that are achieved or will be achieved, I guess.
Yeah, well, that can be achieved. You randomly receive one item.
So if you hit Wolverine or Deadpool, you hit the lottery. But
I think one of the first ones was Ultimate Wolverine. Wasn't that right, Justin? Spidey?
Yeah, I think you are right. Yeah, I think you are.
Isn't it? I feel it was something cool.
It was the low base Ultimate Wolverine.
Yeah. So this is actually pretty interesting. It was funny. So Spidey Jew and I were looking at this list, and we totally messed this up. I
was so stressed out over it.
This was hilarious because we looked at here and we are like, oh man, there's only 22 Deadpools available as the gold achievements. That's a rare card. This is actually just the progress thing, just in case anybody else was a little confused. Here, there are.
Even worse for me because I was doing the Palladium for the Magneto, and I was like racing against the clock. I was like, there's only 3 left, 47 out of 50, 48 out of 50, 49 out of 50, and I completely overtrade for the 50th card. Because it was actually the progress of how many of the 50 cards I had. So I created my own clock that I was racing against.
I loved it. I thought it was under the impression too. I wish there was some kind of divider here. But as you can see here, there's only 32 available of these, and these are pretty big. This is the first 35 collectors to redeem the gold bullion. Is that how you say it? Achievements 1 through 8. So you're getting all 8 of these, and you get to have one of these. Now, the reason it says the first 35 collectors is because these are going to be achieved over and over and over again. I don't know how many of each one there will be. Judging by how difficult some sets are, some aren't, I think you're looking at over maybe 150 of each one, depending. That might be too high. But that's why I'm not paying crazy prices for these, because I know there's going to be tons in the system.
Well, that's a good point you just brought up. So let's assume, right, like you mentioned, possibly 150 each achievement. Then it's easier to put a price tag on it now, because if you think about it, now you're buying a Gambit possibly out of only 150, right? So it's easier to put a price on that as well. Like
and that from person to person. Some people might have a more intimate knowledge of the set and think that's crazy. This is actually going to be a lot harder to do than he thinks. And they'd probably be right. Like Keith would know this better than anybody. Other people we've met and talked about in our respective shows and on here would know better. But for me personally,
those guys are doing it at a grand scale where they can scale the value of each card in a special way. I can compare with us who are just dabbling in and buying a couple of packs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they can do it in a more accurate way because of the amount of volume of cards they're buying. So they have more data.
Much more data.
Much more data. Yeah.
Like,
And levers to pull to make trades happen when they need that one card.
how much are you having to spend to get that achievement? It's not possible to tell right now, but
I mean,
you know what I mean?
The people who are chasing all the achievements are spending $15,000 to $20,000.
Ginger's like, damn.
That's like the entry point. That's not even the top.
yeah, that's what I mean. It's big dog stuff in it.
They're buying cases at a time, 4 cases at a time.
Yeah, they're buying
They
hard
have
cores.
to.
It's the
They
only
have
way,
to. It's the only way. And you can see how other achievements have done that, like the Black Diamond achievement. People spend a lot of money on that too. It gets pretty intense. Because again, like I told you guys, a lot of these collectors are set collectors. Look, see? Progress available.
They're also the same guys and gals that are going to push cars to ComC eventually. Help
And
drive
sell.
the
I mean,
price.
a lot of people are doing the game here where they understand money wise what they're able to like recuperate. You know what I mean? And this is the game. They're excited to play it, and it makes a lot of sense because it all trickles down to us. You know what I mean? If there weren't big dogs doing this stuff, a lot of us would be screwed.
And
It was
like,
sitting
you
in EPAC forever. Yeah.
the also thing I like is that's a genius move by Upper Deck to do the EPAC, because when you're doing the achievements, now you're creating like additional cards with even more rarity than even the set. You know what I mean? So that's a way to bring value that to draw people to buy EPAC. Otherwise, people would probably just not stay away from it or not buy as much if there was no achievements.
Elusive, to piggyback on what you're saying, imagine Fanatics having captured all of this in one, maybe forum or place where you could do all this buy, sell, trading, grade, everything with achievements attached to them. Rankings,
And that's how they're going to get people into it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Imagine a ranking.
I mean, look at all the angles they're hitting. They're hitting like collectors, set collectors. Now there's achievements. If you want like rarity on rarity, you're getting the gamblers involved as well. So there's so many angles there. It's just a win-win-win for them.
Yeah,
And
I
it
mean, they
breathes
do
all-
it in
and
video
it-
games. Video games have global rankings.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
People-
Yeah.
Take it very seriously.
Yeah, PSA has global rankings. Too.
Yeah, for
you know
the
what I mean? Like
registries.
they have registries and they do awards and all that kind of crazy stuff. But yeah,
It doesn't motivate me at all, but it is something I think you'll eventually see.
Yeah. Yeah.
yep, that's right. Look at this. No one wants to trade me anything. You think I'm hassling people?
Collection King says it's going to cost a lot more than 15 to 20 to claim that last achievement.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's a lot.
I got 4 trades that I've got to look at when we hang up. Like I'm in the 90s on the phone. Hey guys, I'll talk to you later.
I got a fax coming in. Can you give me a sec? I gotta hang out.
Right.
The line's got to be free.
Right. My mom needs to make a call. God. Yeah.
Oh man.
Love it.
Yeah, join the club, Marvel Madness. No one wants to trade with me either.
Well, you got to offer value.
Yeah. I think Josh missed that part about value and all that.
Oh.
Elusive always say, and you guys have heard me say this, imagine trading to yourself. That's who's on the other side of the deal. And that's how your mind, you can work out fairness and not trick yourself into trying to get a deal.
Love it.
Oh my god. I don't know if that would work.
Mr.
For
Wolverine
me.
Arc will. That is value.
That's true. That's true. I literally have nothing of value. I'm just like trading people high series cards for high series cards.
So the Wolverine Arcwell to me is one of the harder cards to put a value on. By the way,
What's the pack
It's
pull
not
on that?
numbered. I think it's
1 out of 560. It's very close to the Platinum Portrait. Portrait,
Yeah.
right?
Is that what it is?
I think I might be off. I thought it was SSP. That's why. Yeah. Same thing with
You
the
might be
Geode,
right.
The Geode is more. The Geode is like what, like 1,000 or?
We have a
2,000?
checklist
Yeah.
here. Let's
it's double.
look.
Yeah,
Say,
it's
there's got to
double
be
odds.
one there.
Yeah, I'll share my screen now. I think I know where it is. I always forget, but I think I know where it is.
Yeah, it's,
let's
well,
find
you go to the checklist, and then it has the odds, the little.
That's right. Checklist is product checklist under collect.
By the way, are you guys going Black Widow? You going to get some?
No.
No.
I think it's a
No,
good
no,
set.
sorry.
It's a cool looking set. It's a cool looking set for people who like the character and like the movie. Like if it was a Silver Surfer movie set, yeah, I'd do it. But I don't know if I would buy every week. I'd maybe like hook up with someone who also wants something from there, and like maybe Elusive and I would like tag team it every other week or something, so it doesn't cost us both an arm and a leg.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I don't know. That's what I would think about doing. What were we looking for? Arkweld.
Arkweld SP right there.
Arkweld SP. So there's a few SPs and Wolverines there.
Yeah.
So it is an SP. The pack odds, I think that is on Comic Connect, I believe it is.
Well,
Oh, look at that
it shows
spider.
up. Yeah. Hold up here. What'd you say?
It's a pretty, I mean, it's brown suit
God.
Wolverine. It's sick looking
Yeah, I
card.
do have
It's
it.
beautiful.
It's just so hard.
Great
to put
condition,
value on.
too. And that looks pretty clean.
So
Not
you just
terrible.
said something I thought was interesting that I think people forget about is you can actually look at the condition of the card you're trading for. And it
You
isn't
better.
This is not
Yeah.
a digital image of the card. This is not
This-
one
whenever
image
you
for all
see-
people.
Spidey pointed this out. Whenever you see that kind of like binder, these are in binders, it looks like. When you see this kind of plasticness around it, yeah, the seam, perfect. That's how you know. Like if you look at Spidey's is really clean. Got a little whiting edge on the side there. And then if we go to like, do we know anybody? Big Kid is obviously.
Leg said he has one. You
Oh,
see
Leg does have
J-Leg?
one.
Yeah.
Hey, Leg.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeez, Leg. I didn't even notice. Okay, Legs looks exactly the same. So that's just standard condition for the card.
One sold in
Little white
July
one.
for $410.
It's not a terrible price.
And that's it. Like eBay wise, anyway.
It's not a terrible price.
I mean, depending on the pull rate, going back to like if it is 560 compared to the platinum portraits that are like what 600 per pack.
It's
Or 1 out of
576.
600? Yeah, so it's very close, right? So that means that if you think there's about 15 platinum portraits, there's probably going to be around like what? 30
So
of these?
I actually have the
25?
pack odds here. So Arkweld short print is 1 in 877 packs.
Oh no.
Now this is e-pack odds, not
Ah,
hobby box odds,
Ah,
which
I
is
see.
different because there's more packs on e-pack than there are in the hobby box.
Where'd you get that list?
If you, for some reason, it pulls up on my phone. Whenever you go to the checklist, it has the little dice.
Oh,
You click on it, it gives you all the odds. So the platinum portraits. Let's see if I can find it.
so you go
let me just
here?
through.
Oh, it's just different
Yeah.
on your phone.
Well, it's just different on the phone. When you go to the image of the pack, it actually has.
Oh. You're right.
Let's see if you can pull it up.
There you go. Sorry.
It's like right there. There you go. So you can read it.
I mean, and just to put it in perspective, like if you guys even want to talk about 2017 Spider-Man or Flair to Spider-Man, the Jambalayas were 1 out of 72 packs. To put that in perspective, out of like 1 out of
That's
600. Yeah, it's a crazy for it.
Platinum portrait is 1 out of 580 packs.
So technically, the Arkweld SP and the Blast Furnace SP should
Well,
be.
What we don't know is the character odds. You would have to take how many platinum portraits there
Yeah.
are
They're going to be
and
ridiculous.
divide that down. There's only 3 short print Arkwelds. Multiply that out and then come up with the actual character.
That's right. Correct.
The portraits, yeah, the numbers I'm hearing, and I've seen a very convincing list of the breakdown based on the odds and everything. I think you guys have seen it too on the group. There's like roughly 28 of each character for platinum portraits, which is like the original Jambalaya from 2013 kind of count.
Oh, that's right. Here's the other question I have in regards to that, though. Does that mean that all characters were created equal as far as how many of each were made?
If allocation was perfect.
Yeah, right?
if.
Okay.
Which
Unless
is
unless they note it differently, which is why you get that SP marker. But usually, yeah, they are equal.
Well, only because I've never seen a lot of the Wolverines pop up on Column C or the
They're
games,
locked.
right? Like you don't see those come up on eBay, but you see a lot of Sinisters, you see a lot of Cables, Bishops, whatever, but you don't see a lot of the bigger characters.
Or
Whenever
Dark
I
Phoenix.
do like, yeah, or Dark Phoenix. Like when I see
gosh.
popular characters, unless someone's looking for the payday, those cards don't even see the light of day because people know they want them. So many are shipped. Like I got my Platinum Portrait Gambit, and I immediately shipped it because I had never seen one in hand. And I told Spidey Jew when this set was first coming out, I was like, that's the only card, that's the big card that I want. I did not think I was going to get what else I've gotten so far, but like when I saw that Platinum Portrait, I was like, nah, Platinum Portraits are too cool. And I'd never seen that in a Marvel product before, so I ran it home.
Exactly, first year Platinum Portraits as well.
It's a beautiful, beautiful piece. So I ran it home, but I think that's what happens with a lot of Wolverines and Deadpools and stuff like that. It's like the people run them home or they lock them. A lot of people lock cards.
So with these achievements, I mean, looking at these odds, it makes me think that the Geode achievement may be the most difficult because of how hard it is to get the Magneto, Storm, and Wolverine. Because not only are they, whatever those odds are, was it 100 and you see it right
1,440 for SSP.
1,440 packs. That many packs. They're also insanely popular characters with Magneto and Wolverine.
Yeah, so, I'm glad I'm not a fan of the Geodes because that would have been tough.
They are tough. Sweet looking as well.
Yeah.
So, do you believe these bullions that they're Geodes, like on the same stock? Have you looked at them?
Do I think they're that thick?
Yeah.
I don't think so. Has someone said that?
It's just me looking at it going, hey, the way that looks, I wonder if it looks like, I wonder if it's going to be made like a Geode.
I don't know. That card better look freaking pretty, though, because by the looks of the card, it doesn't look anything super special.
It looks a little bit dull, you're right, though, but sometimes you see them in person and it might be more vibrant, hopefully, right? That's what we're hoping.
And that's where my head is, too. I'm wondering if there's a foil lean, if there's something really nice there.
Can you zoom into that at all?
I'm trying now for you, good buddy.
Thank you, bud.
This one, you know what? There's actually some on Comp C that have a much clearer picture.
Yeah, I think Marvel Madness was saying he's got one. Can't remember which one he's got.
He's got one coming?
It's just gold foil. Okay. I have the Magneto, but I'm not going to ship until I'm done, so...
I only, again, I shipped the, this one's really clean.
Yeah.
It's nice.
So I'm hoping
that's a good looking gambit.
It's a nice gambit. I'm
200?
Yeah.
You flip it over.
It's just too much.
Yeah.
It's just too
much. To your point, it is too much if there's a certain amount of them. But let's say they told us, hey, there's only 100 of them. I think it's not that bad. It's reasonable if it's only out of a 99.
If it was hard numbered, I agree.
Correct, yeah.
If it was hard numbered, yeah. Here's the other thing too, like if I see that this, and this, all these little markers here, if that's all foil, which is my suspicion that. So wait, did who said
Marvel
they had
Madness?
one?
No, they said they're going to get one this week. Marvel Madness.
Okay, so check out Josh's channel because Josh is going to be able to be the first one to take a look at this. If all of this matches this foiling here, then yes, that card looks very cool. But if it doesn't, that does not look good, in my opinion. I like the image of Gambit, obviously.
Upper Deck typically does a good job with their achievement cards. I mean,
they do a good job with all their cards. They're wonderful. It's just like I wish they do some video stuff. Like it breaks my heart that we're not seeing like a 360 view of this in some way. These cards are expensive.
Yeah.
I don't know. I do think I'm right though. I do think this is that same foiling. Do you guys see what I mean by that?
So do you think it's going to be a 35-point card like the base set, like a Grandiose or Gold or PMG?
I think it's a thin card.
Do you guys? I've never had one in hand. That's why I'm asking. What I think Sketch Card has, like comparing the high series Gambit, right? The stock, is that the same stock that they use for the periodics?
So the stock for the periodics
seems thicker to me, but again, I've never had one. Yeah, okay.
It feels, if the stock for the periodic is not like, if it is thicker, it's 55 point, and even then, I'm not 100%. It feels better.
Just better.
It feels more quality, right?
Better.
Feels better quality. It's a completely different stock. than the other
Yeah,
35 point.
whatever they're surfacing the card with, I'm way out of my depth here. But whatever they're surfacing the card with, I think it's just better, and it creates
Nice.
it creates a card that feels like it's got a better quality.
Got it. Nice, yeah, because they have a great look to them. I haven't had one in hand yet, but looking forward to it.
It's nice. It's nice. I mean, the Gambit here, you know,
The Deadpool's nice for any Deadpool collectors as well. That achievement,
all of them are great looking.
Yeah.
I mean,
the
Yeah,
Magneto,
Magneto's
you're
nice
right.
too.
The Magneto, yeah, you're right. Yeah, they're all nice looking.
they are.
Deadpool's
Storm
probably
even
my
looks
favorite.
good. Magneto looks great.
That's sick.
Yeah, it looks like it
I
has
was a
an
little
8-pack on
I
there.
was a little disappointed with Wolverine. I really was.
Yeah.
Me
Because,
too.
I want Wolverine in a yellow and
coloring.
brown suit.
Yeah.
I mean, is he even
colouring.
wearing shoes? Is he got? Is that boots?
The shoes.
He's got sandals.
He's a parrot head. We got Jean Grey here. Jean Grey was a little underwhelming, I think.
Yeah,
She's a little
yes.
underwhelming.
You need all that hair.
Yeah, man. Or like even more like zoomed in. She seems kind of far, you know. Cyclops, I hate the Cyclops. Looks like a blob. It's a shame.
It's like he's
Looks
in
like a
training.
blob.
It's like
Yeah.
Cyclops in training. Like
Yeah.
once he completes training, he'll get his real suit.
Yeah.
He's a
It
cadet
does. It's underwhelming. I think the Gambit is one of the
Yeah.
better ones. I think
Yeah.
the
Well, look how much
Wolverine
card
is
that
not
takes.
terrible. I mean, that's what I like. That's what I mean. And I think that's what gives it a lot of character.
How did you guys feel, Sketchcard, especially because you were going after the Gambit like me? How did you feel about the Arkwell Gambit? Did you like that artwork?
Isn't that the same Gambit on the box, Spidey?
Gosh, I should know this.
Isn't it?
Looks
I
like
feel
he's-
like it is.
It
is, right?
Squatted down.
Yes, the turtle heading card, I call it.
Oh,
Yeah,
No,
I'm
so you know what? I had that card in hand. I think did you help me with that, Spidey, or did I get that separately?
You got that one separately.
I got that one separately, and I had it in hand. Mine had a little nick on it, so I was a little unhappy with it already. And I kind of looked at it, and I was like, why am I going to keep this ugly card here? Just to say I have a Master Rainbow of something. And then, I was out of it. The real decision-making thing that had, like, Alyssa and
It
I
is a
talked
short
about,
print, though.
it's a major short print and super hard to find, but, like, I don't know. And Alyssa's mentioned this. All of us have mentioned this in a way. At the end of the day, rarity's rarity, but it really matters if the card looks good.
yeah.
It just it's a shame. It just comes down to that. It really does come
Like that
down to that.
Wolverine. They killed the Wolverine on the arm.
Well, that's how I feel about the geodes. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of people who love the geodes, but for me, like, unless I'm planning on doing some yoga or meditating, I'm gonna stay away from those geodes personally. but there, and so
I'd
yeah.
love to see that.
I love to see that too, actually.
But yeah, those are, I don't know, man, it's crazy. Yeah.
No, I'm with you. The problems that I have with the geodes. Here's my main issue here, and this is like honesty time, real quick. And I promise not to hog this, but honesty time.
Oh, the thing I would say too, Norton, just before I forget, if you want to share with everybody where they got the image for the Platinum Portrait Gambit. Remember we found it on the 2015.
That's right.
insert?
It was on the. Yeah, I don't have the insert here, but it's the 2015 X-Men insert. But this is the thing I wanted to say here about the geodes, that I'm really bothered by this image on Upper Deck's webpage as a whole. If you look at the geodes, you see along this edge here, you see how you have the rock layering going to the out of the card? If you look at the geodes in hand, they have a sticky substance on them that don't show this. I'm going to show you guys now. Because
it looks really good in that photo. Like,
it looks great in that photo, but it doesn't look like that in the actual card, which I'm really pissed about because that's false advertisement. That's not what it should be doing there. You know what I mean? And I like the geodes. I actually was a huge fan of the geodes at one point.
Spidey, have you still got loads of geodes? I know you were collecting.
No, I've unloaded every geode that I could.
Good for you.
Yeah.
That's it, right?
Yeah, and it's not. I mean, I do like them. I'm not going to sit here and say that I dislike them, But what I decided about this set was I was going to go after a few characters, a few sketches, and what I wanted to put in a binder,
Yeah.
which was the bases, the goals, grandioses. So,
Nice.
Yeah.
and I might do a base blue now because I think they're going to be pretty easy to grab and they look good.
Do you have a Wendigo yet?
Nope.
You can have mine.
Okay, cool.
Just send me a trade with crap, and you can have it. Doom, or Miles? Someone helped me out with him,
Sweet.
or was it Dave? It might have been Dave. But yeah, just send me the trade. You can have it. But yeah.
So, did you find them? Did you find the geodes?
No,
Forgot what you were
because
doing.
mine's like dragging a little bit.
So, I want to talk about the buybacks before we hang up.
Let's do it.
up.
Yes, sorry.
Hey, Spidey, well, I have a question for you as well. Sorry. Besides the buybacks, if you just removing the achievement aspect out of it, what would you advise for someone that's looking to pick up cards from this set? Do you think it's a smart idea to buy cases, or is it better to go, and buy singles that you're looking for? Because I saw on one of an e-pack. I saw one of your videos that you were mentioning. It might have been a live, but you mentioned that you really want to trade up until you get significant pieces from an e-pack, right? So I just feel like by buying singles, you're avoiding that whole step. But I don't know, like money-wise, is it cost-effective to buy cases, or rather go for the pieces that you're looking for specifically?
Yeah, money-wise, I think you just got to buy the pieces that you're looking for, and what you're wanting to do there is have the right timing of when you're kind of putting your hook into the pond. Early on, if it's rare, like if it's a platinum portrait,
Mhm.
I think those you kind of have to grab them. If it's a character that's a green PMG, that's one of the top 5, you got to be ready to kind of chew that monster. But everything else you can wait on.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah.
But buying individual cards, if you're just character collecting,
Mm-hmm.
buying individual cards is by far the way to go. Mass buying on e-pack, unless you got a big game plan or you're just chasing achievements, I wouldn't do it.
No.
So you want to talk about buybacks?
Yes.
But yeah, so there's a lot of debate. These are the ones I have, so that's why I pulled them up. I'm chasing the X-Men because I missed out on the Spider-Man, so I'm chasing the X-Team. So I'd like to have the blue and the gold of what's available
Very
out
cool.
there. So
Nice.
yeah, so I thought it'd be fun. But I'm curious. I kind of have my own opinion about where these buybacks are and where they may go. But I'd love to hear your thoughts of people who are in the comments in the chat. Love to hear their thoughts.
I would just say that originally when I saw these come out and I knew they were from the 95 metal set, I was super excited, and then I forgot. Norrin told me that Surfer is a banned character because I was really looking for that alternate M Surfer with the Infinity Gauntlet. If that would have came out, I would have chased that with everything I had. But other than that, the only other one that crossed my mind to pick up was the Gambit. But I'm personally not a huge fan of the artwork they used for the buyback. I think they would have been better off with the Gold Blaster artwork. It didn't have to be the
That's
Gold
like
Blaster.
one of the best
Yeah,
Gambit
correct.
images of all
It
time.
is so
man.
good.
So I think that was a little messed up for them. But other than that, like again, I'm not a huge fan of the metal set. So for me, it was easy to pass up on these.
That looks
What do you
awesome,
think,
that ginger
Gingy?
ale.
That's one of the better cards in the set, in my opinion.
I keep saying the same thing really, but my mind goes to people as Spider-Man Metal comes out, and things like that. People will go back to the original 95 Metal. I know, Sketch, you're not a fan, and you've said that before, but I do think longer term, I think they're nice to hold.
I mean, they're out of 10, right?
I mean, they're definitely
And
rare, and that's the
they're
magic number.
Crazy
10.
rare. I'm not a huge fan of metal. I am a fan of the Silver Surfer that has that High Series similar logo. So not the base Surfer. I don't like that one at all.
That's nice.
The one where it's full body. Surfer, I can get an example, but I don't want to bring out
don't
the
want Gingy
Pelican
to call you
case.
out.
I don't want Gingy to be like that Pelican case. It's calling him. He can't help it. I should have brought it with me. I knew I made a mistake. I was like, I knew I'm going to reach for that sucker. But
Yeah, but the whole point on the buybacks that you brought up, Justin, I would say where they stand. I mean, I don't know again value wise, but what I have found interestingly is that people are starting to chase heavily the flare buybacks that are out of 20, and for different reasons. But obviously, it's an awesome set. But I think those grade very well if you compare them to any other buybacks from the past. Compared to the 92 Juscos, the commemorative buybacks, right? Those usually have a little bit more wear. But even if we look at the 20, the 17 Fleer Spider-Man, some of those have a lot of wear on those as well. The ones out of 30, or even the 2018 X-Men Fleer X-Men, or the X-Men Fleer.
I think
ones.
the flares are a great buy. I think a lot of people forget that the flares have a lot of comic book covers, images in there. So, and the future of Marvel cards is very much in grading, is to grade your CGC comic and then pair it with a card that has a similar cover to it. And Flair's a great set for that. In terms of value with metal, I'm not a huge fan of the art in metal, the original 95. I collected it. I have it's a great story when my mom bought me my Silver Surfer from like a mall stand for metal, and it's like my favorite card. And that's why I got the 10 of it, so I can kind of remember that, which is a huge memory for me. But I'm not a fan of the art in general. There's a lot of good looking ones. Some of them I'm not a huge fan of. But what I will say in terms of value, I think it's tricky. I think you have a lot of people who are 100% against buybacks and not a fan because they can't see themselves spending the money on something that they already have in their collection that just simply has a number on it. And for that, I 100% respect you. And I say don't get into that because then it's stupid on your end to do it. But I think if you are a person who's looking at it and saying, here's a card I really like, I want to increase the value of this card and the collectability, then you go buy back. And I think that's where a lot of people are thinking right now. Yeah. But do I think certain prices for cards are right? No. Like what the Spider-Man sold for?
Yeah.
I don't know. That doesn't make sense to me at all.
I think in terms of like a sports...
Sold for twice, guys.
Stupid.
It sold for $1,780 and then it sold privately for $1,700. Second time.
Yeah,
I'm not a huge fan of that. I'm just not a huge fan of that, because, and not that, someone paid for it. I'm the idiot, it's done. It's paid for it. That's how much it costs, so whatever I say, it doesn't matter. But in terms of if you're looking for me, and this is how I do it, is I look, okay, that money buys me a buyback, right? Or does that money buy me a green PMG of one of the better characters from this set?
Or even a 2018 Bianchi auto out of 10 for that kind of money.
For that kind of money.
Yeah. And we're talking out of 10s, right?
Sale?
Yeah.
Do those pop up for sale with characters?
Yeah, I just picked one up. Yeah, not an A character, but
there's plates. There's MM18 plates out there that went on sale. There's things happening.
That buys you. That buys you a 2015.
We're talking about Spider-Man. Yeah, just.
That Spider-Man. No, that MM18 autograph Spider-Man is.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of my point. If you were doing Spider-Man to Spider-Man, that's what? That's a $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 card.
Well, that buys you a red PMG Spider-Man,
which is so dumb.
From 17, at least.
I think the silver Spectrum autos are overly priced. I think they're dumb. I think they're so overly priced for some characters. That does not make sense to me at all. Now you're gonna pay $5,000 for a 2018 signed Spider-Man out of 10.
Yeah.
That doesn't make sense to me at all.
But even going back to the buybacks, look, I think what the Flair got going again, just to summarize, is they have great gradability potential, right? And they're out of 20, which is makes it more accessible than out of 10, right?
They grade really well.
Yeah, those are nice. Yeah,
they grade really well, and that's why the sealed boxes still sell for well over $1,000. Because you're likely going to pull gradable cards.
The pop report reflects that as well. There's equal amounts of 10s that are into the 9s. There's probably even more 10s than there is 9s.
So when I think about it as a whole, to summarize, I think in terms of people coming from the outside world, and I think of sports cards guys again, sorry. I think it ticks all the boxes. No, in terms of, the same way PMGs does, in terms of Marvel Metal, being numbered, people know the characters, they know the look and the feel of the cards. So I do think it has all of those things, in terms of the
That makes
buybacks you're
sense.
talking about
That
going
makes
for
sense.
it. So yeah.
I think it's special for a number of different reasons. I think not to everybody, because Norton, his opinion matters.
Yeah.
Some. Is a lot of us loved this set as a kid, right? For those who were in their 30s and were around 1995, 40s, and so there is that nostalgia aspect of it. I think it's actually pretty special from an insert standpoint, because an insert can be printed, like can be made and printed. I think it's another thing for the company to go out and find these cards, buy them, stamp them front to back, and repack them and put them out there. I actually think the cost to do that is probably higher than it is to create an insert. So I think that's pretty special when you add the fact that it's also numbered to 10.
Mm-hmm.
And 10, and we've talked about it many times on the podcast, 10's a magic number. Mm-hmm. When you're at 20 and when you're at 30, I mean, like, it just changes things if you want to talk about the ability to collect it and then ultimately what it's going to cost you to collect it, or the value. Yeah. So I understand why people have kind of their opinion that they have right now of these buybacks. But I think there is a chance that they're going to be pretty special. And I think down the road may even be one of the more special cards out of this set.
I think you're right. I think as far as significance and rarity, you're checking the boxes. I think the only thing that me and Lauren are saying is, for us, our personal taste, the artwork is the only thing we're judging. And the card.
I mean, it's not so. Here's the thing.
There's enough people out there that overcome.
We're the minority.
Yeah, and
we're the minority.
My judgment about the artwork is opinion only.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
And that does not take away the value of buybacks. Mm-hmm. I've always been a huge believer in buybacks, even though a lot of people might not agree with me. And I agree with what Justin's saying, is that they won't do this again. And that's my big key thing here, right? They're not going to do buybacks of metal again. They're not even in Spider-Man, which is why everyone's also valuing them very highly, because they understand there's not going to be a second round of this opportunity.
Everyone understands. That's the point I also trying to make, exactly.
Yeah, have these been buybacks yet? The 95 Spider-Man players?
Unless it was no, I don't think so.
So I would say, Sketch, you just said it.
Put them as buybacks. I'm kidding.
That'd be great.
I remember talking to Sketch Card Hive, and like when I first got into Marvel cards in January this year, sorry. And he said, and this is at a time when buyback cards were at $20, $15, $20 each.
Yeah.
He called it. He called it from the start.
Mm-hmm. That's how I met Norin. He commented on a Surfer buyback I had picked up, and he was talking about. I think to Norin's point, I think it adds rarity. Right. It adds rarity to base cards, right? Because a lot of these flares were base cards. So look, I'm just to share, since we're sharing buybacks. So here's the 2019 flare. There's only going to be 20 of these sets, because you got the buyback, you have the Pepsi version of the card, and then you have the base version. So only 20 people are going to be able to have these three cards.
Yeah.
That adds rarity to it, if that's what you want to change.
It's special.
I think it's nice. I think it makes a lot of sense. I think, for me, buybacks are what I like. I know we're over time. I am so sorry. My wife's going to kill me.
We're having
fun. I am having fun.
I'm getting hungry.
Yeah. So the last thing I will say on my end about this is that buyback, a lot of times with cards, what I get excited about are the one trick pony cards. What I mean by that is like the purely periodics. They're only going to do that once. And I love it for that reason. The X-Century cards that they did in Flare Ultra Spider-Man, with the way they numbered them and how they did approach that, they're doing that once, and I love that they did that set. Buybacks have that kind of thing to them, but they will continue in their entity of how they are. There will always be buybacks, but they're only going to be buyback for Flare. That's over. The buybacks for Metal, that's over. You know what I mean? I like the buybacks for 1992 Marvel Masterpieces. That's over. That I love. You know what I mean?
Hey, well, we'll end it with this, or however you guys want to end it, but I think it would be awesome if we ever get, I mean, I know Norin is not a believer, but if we could ever get 96 buybacks, that would be epic, right? And I would settle, if we can't get 96, I would settle for 2013 Fleer buybacks.
What about 95 Marvel Masterpiece as a buyback?
Yeah, I'll take that as well. Yeah.
I mean, you got all these characters. They're incredible.
See that
different
happening.
versions of each character.
Can you imagine an
I think those
emotion
are still
buyback?
cheap enough. Oh no, I can't. I mean,
That'd be sick.
I can't imagine
No, I can't.
how. I mean, it has Spider-Man in there,
Mhm.
so obviously on
That's
the
awesome.
there's always
Right.
drama around me and that. So
Let's wrap it up before our other half chop our nuts off. And thank you, everyone. This has been a fire episode. Like
This
has been
given
great.
some serious value to people listening. So I hope you guys enjoyed. But yeah, from us, have a good the rest of your day.
Justin? Go ahead, Justin.
hey guys, hey, thank you for joining Marvel's Pack Fresh podcast. Really appreciate you guys joining the pack. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and tell your friends who love Marvel content, Marvel trading card content, to check us out. And I hope you all have a marvelous day.
Peace.
Love it. Bye, everybody.